Well, I have to admit, this one is a tough one. Guys, guess what? By the way, have you noticed what I've been doing recently? I'm actually answering the questions that you're asking me on the comment section. And this is a question someone asked. Hey, Joseph, would you take 1.4 million, put it in Uber business, or would you put it in an MMF, or would you actually go ahead and do it in a treasury bonds or a treasury bills? And you know what, guys, I'm at your service. I try the best as I can to respond to your question, and instead of just responding on the comment section, I decided to make a video so that all of us can actually benefit. And by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, this is Good Joseph, and I'm trying to build quite a nice, amazing community all about investment, how we can help each other. So if you have a question, put it on the comment section and be, just explain your question very well so that when I'm reading it, I don't have to ask you some other questions. Are we together? Anyway, this is Good Joseph speaking, and I do anything related to finances, investment, businesses, and all those kind of things. And if you don't want to miss any of good videos, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you also leave your comment on the comment section. All right, so let's get into the business. And I have to give a disclaimer on this one. My friend, I'm telling you, I've contacted 11 people who are doing Uber business for me to come up with substantive information to explain this, because I don't like giving false information out there. So guys, don't roast me on the comment section. If you're a Uber driver, whatever numbers I'm going to share here, guys, please don't crucify on the comment section. It's the research that I have done within that period of time. Anyway, let's get into the business. Now, here you have yourself 1.4 million and you'd like to get into the Uber business. It's quite of an interesting question that most people ask me. Is it a profitable business? Should I actually get myself into it? I actually received a call from somebody who was asking me that. Now, the question is, Uber business, I'm not going to go to the details on how to join the Uber business anyway. I'm here to talk about the numbers. Uber business, of course, it simply means online taxi. Allow me to say that. Online taxi. Or so whereby you register your car online, and then some people can actually see it online and can order it, and then you can be able to take them from one point to the other. That's the simplest language I can use to explain that. Now, Uber business, first of all, you need to understand, here we are arguing from the point of you have the money to buy your own car. You can actually be given a car by the owner of the car where you gonna do whatever you guys gonna do. Now, the point is, let's say you have your money and you wanna buy yourself a car. What are the types of the car that you can actually get your? Because when it comes to Uber, you need to get yourself a car that is actually a fuel efficient, okay? And some of the best cars I would recommend, based on what you guys who are doing Uber, one of the best cars that you can go for is called Suzuki. Is it Suzuki? Yeah, Suzuki Wagon R. I think most of the people are actually telling me that is the best car you can go for as far as the Uber is concerned. You can go for Daihatsu Move or something of sort. You can actually go for another car like I do see some people actually on Demio. Okay, it has a good mileage. I also see some people on Note, on Nissan Note, and what have you, and many other cars that you can actually get yourself. Even Honda Fit, you can actually get yourself into Honda Fit. You can actually get yourself a car that some of these are the best cars. You can actually get yourself Suzuki Swift. You can actually get yourself Suzuki Swift. It's one of the cars that is highly there in that. And by the way, here I'm talking about the Uber Chap Chap. In Kenya, we call it Chap Chap. You know, that Uber with cars of less than, say, 1,000 cc or something or sort close to that particular gap. This is where you register that kind of. This is the most popular cars that actually grabbed as far as the Uber is concerned. Are we together? Now, here we are. See, these cars, of course, will cost you, depends on which car that you grab. Let's say it will cost you roughly, say, 1 million, okay? Kenyan shilling. Some will actually cost you 1.2. Some will cost, like Honda Fit, will actually go all the way to around 1.3 to 1.4. Are we together? A Honda Fit will cost you around 1.3, 1.4 million or something of sort. Sometimes even 1.5 million. Suzuki Swift will cost you around 1.1 million. Let's say Demio will cost you around 1.2 million. Let's say Station Wagon R will actually cost you less than $1 million. Actually, you can actually get that. Again, depends on which year you're actually going for. Anyway, the point is, you have yourself 1.4. Say you grab any car, you see that amount of money, you can actually manage to buy all the cars that I've actually outlined here. Are we together? Now, of course, guys, I'm not a car seller, guys, so I'm not gonna give you, I don't know, year 20 what. No. I'm just explaining to you the business part of this, okay? Say now you grab your car, say this amount of money, say 1.3, and then you have to register for the Uber and what have you. So how much do you make and something of sort? Based on the information that I've gathered out there, if it is your car, you can actually make quite of a decent amount of money. Again, if you're watching this from Kenya, Uber really do well when you actually operate from cities. And I'm going to use Nairobi as an example because almost all of them whom I've contacted have actually used the Nairobi as a case study. They have told me it depends with particular day. Talk of 1,500 per day all the way to 3,500, and sometimes can actually be more, depends with the day. It can actually play around that particular amount of money. And I've actually done what we call the fuel deductions. Okay, maybe perhaps you're watching this and you make 7,000 in a day. Well, you are an exemption. And maybe perhaps you're watching this and you usually go home with 700. So please don't crucify me on the comment section. I'm using an average number based on what I've actually studied, and I've actually done my own research by contacting actual people who are on the Uber business on how much they make per day. Again, in business, the profit goes up and down and what have you. And of course, whatever you're making here, time to time you need to service your car. And let's say probably you make, let's say you make around, say, 40,000 a month. Let's say you make 40,000 a month, all the way to something around 90,000 a month. Now, the point of the question is, of course, you have to set aside a certain amount of money for you actually to go ahead and do the service, because this is a car that is moving from one point to the other. It depends. Can be a minor service, can be a major service. If it clocks the 10,000 kilometers or miles or whatever you guys call it in your country, so you have to do that. So I'm not gonna go for those nitty-gritties. Let me just stick to, if you buy yourself a car today, and you get it in Uber, how much will you actually make? Let's even deal with the average or the least amount of money. Let's even say you make an approximately let me not use the term sure. Let's say you make 30,000 a month from that car that you've actually bought, and you invested yourself 1.4 million. Depends with the car that you bought anyway. Now, the point is, if you get this amount of money per month, but let me tell you one thing, my friends. It is not as easy as said. You might be like, oh my goodness, Joseph said that if you buy a car, you put it on the road and have yourself a Uber, boom, you have yourself 30,000. No, but they have a company that actually takes people's car, they manage the car, and they give you the 30,000 per month. By the way, there are companies that do that, or there's option 2, whereby they give you give them the car to manage, and then they manage your driver, they manage everything, and then they give you 30,000 per month, and they take care of the services. Or they give you 36,000, and then you manage your own services as far as that car is concerned. Are we together? So I'm using 30,000 as an average. It can actually go even to 100, but let's even deal with as little as 30,000 is what you make. But Uber business comes with a lot of, what do we call tough times and what have you, difficulties and what, because it is a business. Never forget, this is a business we are talking about. And of course, business, we all know that is usually have what we call high risks, and of course what we have the high returns. Anything that has high risk has high returns. Okay, and remember, we are comparing it with MMF bonds and what have you. So this is what you're getting each and every month. Of course, you need to eat, you need to dress, you need to do all those kind of things. Now, the point is, at every time and anytime, a business will always make more money compared to what? Compared to an investment. An MMF or a bond, these are businesses. It depends who has this 1.4 million. If there is an individual who is looking forward to grow the money, you have the time. Probably it's the only money that you have, and you're wondering what business you can actually get yourself into. This is where you can actually put yourself into. But of course, you have to do your own research. I'm not telling people to join Uber because you're going to make millions. No, please, guys, don't take me on a negative connotation on the comment section. I'm not saying you go break your bank, get your 1.4 million, get in the Uber because Joseph rubber stamped it as. And I'm not doing any advertisement. I'm not paying by anybody. I'm answering a question. I have to give all those disclaimers. Now, the point is, if you get this amount of money, and let's say you have to rely on, maybe let's say, of course, you have to eat, you have to do other things, you have to run your course. If this is the only money that you have, then of course, you're gonna go ahead and also do some deductions there. Probably you're gonna spend or rely on, or you're gonna live on a 20,000 lifestyle. Probably. I'm not saying you should, I'm saying probably. And then you leave aside, say, 10K per month, and this 10K probably you can throw it in a money market fund, and you can grow it with over time. You have to do the calculations. Or option two, let's say you have this 1.4 million, you get that car, you give, let's say, to that company, they manage your car, they give you this amount of money, and maybe whatever you're getting at the sideline, you don't really need to disturb this amount of money. So you can decide to commit this 30,000, say, in an investment continuously. And after some time, certain period of time, you're gonna break your even. You're gonna recoup that what you had invested in that particular car. Whoa. I hope I've tried to summarize my information and make it simple as possible. Now, the question is this. If you want to go the money market fund way, this one I won't spend some time. You go check another video that I made if you were to invest $1 million in a money market fund. It's simple. If you get 1.4 million in a money market fund, probably that will give you around 15,000 a month. 15,000 a month. If you get that in a bond, it will give you around 16, 17,000 a month. Uber is giving you 30,000, 40,000, 50, even 100,000, depends with how that particular month is. But the earnings actually fluctuate, depends with the time. And of course, when we talk about Uber making this amount of money, you cannot just get into any business blindly. You must be an individual who has actually interacted with people who are doing the Uber business. You know all the procedures. Of course, you have the PSV. You have that app you've actually registered. In Kenya, you're required to have that as a signatory, assigning from the PSV, whatever, and all the other requirements and licensing and what have you and permits, okay? So you have to go all those. And of course, you must have done your market research and you have realized that you can actually get into that business. Do not just to buy a car. I had somebody who actually did that. You don't know about the business. You just had some people saying that you can make a good money. You go buy yourself a car, get it on the road. You don't even know how it works. You don't even know some of the, there's these things we call the street smart. There are people who you find they rely on the books, especially these guys who come from the employment, they get into the businesses. They usually come with a lot of assumptions. They want to run the business the way they were running where they were employed, although it was a business per se, but you don't really need to carry on the mentality that you had from your job to a business. These are two different entities. So anyway, with MMF, you're going to get yourself around 14, 15,000 a month. With their bonds, again, I've said you're going to get yourself maximum or max of 16,000, say, or 17,000. But let's not stick with 16 because I told you guys the interest rate is actually going down. And the Uber, let's say, is giving you an average of this. You see, Uber is giving you double of what MMF will give you or the bond will give you. Why? Because we are not comparing an apple with an apple. These are not two things that are compared, okay? This is an investment. This is a business. So it is unfair comparison. But remember one thing. For you to get this 30,000, you must have actually hustled out there. You've actually made some calls. You've done some follow-ups. You've actually engaged in one thing or the other. So you've actually interacted with several things here and there to actually make sure that you realize this amount of money. But with this one, again, you simply put your money out there. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to do any follow-up. You don't have to bother anybody, and you're going to make some of your cash at the end of the day. So the point is, it depends on where you want to get. If you have the time to actually run the business on the Uber, get into it. If maybe say you are busy doing other things, you're looking forward to an investment, and you have done your research on the Uber, you've realized that you can actually make some cash. And when I say Uber, I don't necessarily mean Uber. It can be Bolt, it can be Faraz, it can be, by the way, those are the Kenyan ones that I'm saying about. South African might hear me saying Faraz, be like, what? Maybe they don't have that in their country. Anyway, I'm just talking about the Uber version, whereby there is an online app somewhere, you register your car, and then you have it, and all those kind of things. So that would actually make you this amount of money. So it depends on who can get into this. Do you want to grow your money, maybe let's say faster? You have the time, you have the energy, you have the skills, you have the understanding, you have the market research, then you can get into this business. Then if maybe say you're busy, you don't want to get yourself into this business and what have you, you can throw that. So anyway, I would say these are perfect engagement, but of different people. Not everyone will pick this one and not everyone will pick that one. So at all the time, please consider what you want, run it against what you have on the board, and then pick that is what is actually aligning with what you want, or that one is actually closer to what, what am I saying? First of all, understand what you want. All right. Once you understand what you want, all right, and when you want it, then go ahead and run it against that what you have on the table. Then pick the one that is actually aligning with yours, or what you want that is, or that is aligning with yours closer to that what you want, so that at least you can be able to realize that thing that you're looking for as far as the investment is concerned. So anyway, that is good, Joseph, and that's the video that I said, guys. Maybe I've not done justice on this video. If you'd like me to make more of this, maybe you want me to shed some light on some things, guys, you know what? go ahead and put it in the comment section. I'm gonna try the best as I can to fish those those questions, and I'm gonna make a video out of them, and then we can talk business. Anyway, guys, guess what? My disclaimer, always make sure that you do your own research before investing any money. Any investment, any business, there are usually some risks that are involved. And it's always good to make sure that you contact somebody so that they can take you through on what you can be able to invest on. This is Good Joseph, and as always, make sure that if you'd like to get my services in one way or the other, my number is always on the description of this specific video. So how about you grab that number? And people ask me, where is my number? So maybe perhaps I can try to put it on the board here. It is actually people ask me all the time, Joseph, where is your number? Where can I? People don't even know where the description is, and I don't blame them anyway. Anyway, that's my number. You can pick it up there. If you want any business related consultation, are we together? That is the only thing that I deal with, business related consultation. My services, I charge at just a simple cup of coffee price, quite affordable. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, grab that one, then we can talk business for now. It's a goodbye and see you in the next one.